Hello and welcome back to the Coaching Roundtable with yours truly, Daniel Ferrugia. And I am joined, as always, by my excellent co-hosts. We have Coach Isobel Ross.
Hi, everybody.
And Coach Ashley Drew.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, team. And we're back, and we've got lots of ground to cover today, to use a bit of a running metaphor. And so we won't dilly-dally too long, but I thought we might just do a quick go around and do a little catch up and then talk about some big things that are happening in Isobel's life your running career. So, yeah. So what's new? We'll start with you, Ashley. How have you been? Shall I say you've had an interesting few weeks since we spoke last, and so
I have had an interesting few weeks. I was just starting to return to some run, walk, run, and then I managed to get COVID. So that knocked me off my feet. And Saturday I began run, walk, running again. So I'm just stepping back into it. But COVID knocked me off my feet for a solid 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's part of the club now, the COVID club. So well done.
Yeah. Well,
are you part of it, Daniel?
The advantage now is I won't have it for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
No, my brother caught COVID and he got quite ill. He got sick at Christmas. And but yeah, so a few people I know have been quite ill, but touch wood, not doing too bad. And you haven't had it, Isobel, have you?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, good. And hopefully you don't want to get it in the upcoming. Yeah, well, I'm glad you recovered, Ashley, or you're still recovering, and you can get back to training properly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've clocked up a total of 7 kilometers.
Nice.
So
that's 7
believe it or
kilometers
not,
more
that's
than
pretty
before.
good.
Yeah.
Correct. That is 7 kilometers more. At the end of the day, you have to start somewhere, and I am literally starting from zero again.
Yeah. No, well done. That's good though. It's positive. That's the growth mindset way to look at it. And and so, Isobel, so you've had a good few months of training, and now your very quick overview. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just got a little trip ahead.
Yeah, just a bit of a trip. So I've just had, my 2 really big weeks, and then I sort of tapered off a bit last week, and then full on into taper now because I leave on Sunday for America.
Fingers crossed.
Everything crossed.
It'll go well.
Yeah. And so we leave for the States Sunday morning, arrive there Sunday night. I've got a camper van-y thing booked that is, not too big because Laz doesn't like them too big, and we're camping at the park.
Which park again? Just for those that don't know.
Yeah, Frozen Head State Park.
Fairly well known.
That Laz books out for the race, but I'm booking a spot early. And we're going there early, and not a huge amount early, but enough for me to get over jet lag, hopefully. Because it's going to be hard enough without having to deal with jet lag. And so get over jet lag and, have a little explore again of the park. Obviously, I'm not allowed off trail. I'm only allowed on trails. And then it's Barkley marathons time.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bring on the Barkley. Isn't there a prison there that you could stay in?
Yeah. Yeah, if I get really lost, I'll just find that and have a bit of a snooze there. Yeah.
So I think a good portion of today's episode is going to be talking about that, because it's pretty significant. And I would say not many people get into this race, let alone someone we know. And so we will be, I guess, picking your brain a little bit about what you've done and how, because this is your second crack at it. Yeah. And obviously, do you feel better prepared? And so that's good. I think I was thinking about this before, actually. I know a few people who've done like the New York City Marathon, but not many, right? Yeah. And that's a mass participation event. And this is probably just as famous
Yeah.
but it's not a mass participation event.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's because it really captures the imagination with the not just the navigating, but with the finding of the books and having the pages and no checkpoints and and no technology. I think it captures the imagination in a different kind of a way to something like the New York City Marathon. But
yeah.
Plus, doesn't it have a rule, something like the application process? The first rule is don't talk about the application process.
Pretty much, So, I mean, the application process is basically a secret, and which means it's hard to work it out. And the thing is, the reason it's a secret is if you can't even work it out how to enter, then you're not, it's like, then how would you expect to do well at the Barkley? So people who come to me and saying, oh, could you please tell me how to enter Barkley? That shows me they haven't got the right mindset to do Barkley. So I'm not going to tell them, because if that's their only way of finding out, by asking me, and believe you me, it happens more frequently than you'd think. And they're serious. They want me to just sit there and tell them how to enter. And it's like, but if that's your only way of finding out how to enter, then you're not going to do well or be capable of doing well, because it's not just about finding out. It's the process you go through to find out that is part of the process of being able to do things at Barkley. And even though I find out how to enter Barkley, still doing Barkley is impossibly hard. So it's like, that's just the first step. So if you can't do that, that's why Laz makes it difficult, because it is one of the steps.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And because also it's a great, because I mean, it's a great metaphor for the race, isn't it? Like, as you say, but also the whole metaphor for sort of training for ultras in general. It's like people want to hack their way to success. They want the easiest path to success, when that's not always. Sometimes it just requires work and when because you get presented with a challenge, you've got to figure out how to overcome it, and that's basically what you've got to do in the race, isn't it? It's just a series, just lots of little challenges, like that mount up to this enormous 100-mile event, which we know is more than 100 miles, so
and like you said, it's like, I mean, ultra runners, we like to think of ourselves as problem solvers, as as you all know, throughout a race you'll encounter many problems, and it's how well you can solve them determines generally how well you will go. So this is just another form of that. They're just different kind of problems, and some of them quite cryptic.
So Ashley, I don't know about you, but I'm heaps tempted to hit her up for tips, but I won't.
Definitely,
just to annoy me.
Actually, though, speaking of ultras, I was listening to another coach the other day, and he was talking about getting clients, and he goes, the first thing I ask any prospective athlete is, what are the 3 important things that you have to do this year? And if they go past 3, he goes, I don't want them as a client, because they're not going to do well as an ultra. So what 3 is? So I'm a dad this year, I'm doing work this year, and I'm training for ultra. If they then say, oh yeah, and I'm wanting to buy a house, or I'm wanting to do this, or I'm wanting to do that as extra things on top, he goes, I'm sorry, but you won't make it.
Yeah.
You don't have, there's just not enough hours in the day. And I imagine the Barkley's the same sort of thing for you, is what else have you done with your life other than train for the Barkley for the last 6 months?
Sadly, nothing.
Yeah.
And it feels like I've been doing this for 2 years, because I keep hoping I'll get back there. And so that's it. The Barkley is all consuming, and it is mentally exhausting to only be focusing on this one thing. I mean, obviously I'm focusing on other things like my clients and I'm working and all that, but in my day-to-day life, that's all I'm focusing on. So I'm working and I'm focusing on Barkley, and that's pretty much it. And it's really hard. And once again, like you talk about having other things in your life, my kids are grown up. I don't think I could do this kind of focus if I had younger children, right? So that's one thing off the table, And so I can just focus on work and Barkley, because it's more than just focusing on running. So, and like you said, if I had if I'd been going to move and start a new job and I've got my kids running them around to sports, and there's no way,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard.
And
yeah.
What does it cost financially?
Oh, well, I mean, the race itself doesn't cost much to enter because Laz wants it to be a feat of endurance, not a feat of finances.
Yeah.
So, that's not the issue. But, I've spent $3,500 on flights. Then I've got a $2,000 on the camper van. And then that doesn't take into account all the other things that I'm going to have to purchase when I'm over there, and I've spent a lot of money on kit and, and all that sort of stuff. But, I mean, that's what credit cards are for.
Yeah.
It is. So would you say it's a 10K experience that you'll relive for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yeah. But, I am willing to spend money on experiences because to me, I would rather spend money on experiences. I'm still driving a car I've had for a very long time. Let's put it that way, because my priority is not on driving a flash car. My priority is on having flash experiences. And I would rather have great memories when I die than a great car sitting in the garage.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I think that's a great. I feel
unless
the
they're going to bury you in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a big question for you. What going over for this race, this near impossible race?
Yeah.
Okay, what does success look like for you in this?
Well,
because there's varying degrees of success in a race like this. For
starters, the first successful thing will be to get to the start line. Next, to get to the start line and not be in a mode of panic like I was last time. And then to be able to get around the course, not needing someone else. Like I was able to get a few of the books on my own, but when it got a bit trickier, I did need someone else and to be with. And I felt that not just for the navigation, but just wanting to be with someone else, But success for me, I've got various goals. Like obviously I want to finish, but the chances of that are pretty slim. Like men rarely finish it. And I know everyone's like, oh, Laz shouldn't say, so sexist to say that women can't finish. But the fact is no woman has ever finished. So, the odds are against me and that's fine. So chances are I probably won't finish it, but of course that's what my goal has to be because God knows I'd love to. I think if I did 3 loops, to me that would almost feel like a finish as well. I would love
a fun run, isn't it?
Yeah, the fun run.
Yeah.
But ultimately, even if I do, I was looking at the stats and an Australian, which was a woman I knew in Canada. So she would go either sometimes as a Canadian or as an Australian to Barkley. She's only done 1 loop. So an Australian has only ever done 1 loop of Barkley. So I would like to, at minimum, improve on that. So 2 loops. Yeah. But I really want to do 3 or more loops. But once again, it's being held a bit earlier in the year, which means it's colder, the weather's worse. I've been training in summer. Lots of people from, and you know what any ultra is like. You can rock up having done the best training of your life and just have a bad day. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but ultra running is such a fickle sport. And then you add in these other challenges. I guess what it is I feel a little because everyone goes, oh, you're going to be the first female finisher. Well, and then I go, all these people expecting me to finish. I really don't know. I can't say I'm going to finish. You can't say that. I don't know.
That's why I asked. I think it's to ask, what does success look like? Because I don't think sometimes having just that one very linear goal of finishing or in any race, and quite often I'll tell my athletes, I'll say, okay, what does success look like for you? And I might say, okay, without saying you want to finish or just finish, what does success look like? Because then that makes people expand thinking and go, well, maybe I'd like to make sure I eat enough, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm able to finish strong, or pace smarter. So I mean, I know for a fact that you've been doing a lot of navigation training.
Yeah.
And so that's got to give you some confidence going in. And so, yeah.
I mean, I've done a lot more nav practice than the first time I went, because last time, I just got back from Canada, like in December. So it had been such a big snow season that I couldn't do any nav practice there. And since I knew I got in, it was all snow. So I didn't get to do any nav practice until basically January, and then I was off. So I really hadn't done much. So I've done a lot more now, and I feel a lot more confident. But, sleep deprivation messes with your head, and fog messes with your nav and everything. So it all just depends.
Yeah.
What I liked about what you just said then was your smaller goals that will make such a pivotal difference to achieving your big overall goal. And that was the first one was actually turning up to the start line relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is such a massive goal for anyone doing an ultra.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about the other little goals that you have, getting to the start line, and then once you actually start, I'm sure you have other little things that are playing through your head.
My goal in regards to getting to the start line is based purely on the PCR test I have to do 24 hours before I travel out of Australia. Like, I mean, I don't feel sick, but we all know you can be asymptomatic and test positive for COVID. So that's my first goal, is to get on that plane, right? And then once I'm on the plane, and just to, that's just to get there. So then, the next goal is that I don't get so overwhelmed by it, because and I've been trying to think about it, and ultimately I want to see this more as a challenge and an adventure than a race where I'm feeling pressure. So and it is really a challenge and adventure. And how lucky am I to be able to go and do this, because there's so many people who would love to be in my position, and how fortunate am I that I am in this position. And I want to appreciate that when I'm out there, and not be stressing about the race so much itself, but just focusing on how fortunate I am, what a great experience, what a challenge. And once again, like when I spoke about, like when I die, I don't want to have, the great car or whatever. And so, when I'm older and I can look back on my life, this is like, it's going to be something pretty awesome to look back on.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I think it's just an incredible it's an incredible experience. And I think if you go in with that, regardless of the final outcome, if you go in with wanting to just embrace the whole experience, you're going to have a better time of it. Regardless, you get to go and travel to the US. Yeah. Get to do international travel, which is like so exciting. And so. And you get to meet some amazing runners, some of you probably already know, some of you might not know, but you're going to have an awesome experience in that regard. Just relating, it's funny, I've been reading this book lately, that something that you said, or that you both have sort of said, that really reminded me about goal setting. And I know it's something that's been on Ashley's mind about goal setting, but great, basically looking at the process goals that you've gone into, like, rather than people go, oh, my goal is to finish this race or that race, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, this guy, this author named Brad Stulberg, who's the author of the book Peak Performance, but he's written another book, which I am just trying at the top of my mind. Oh, it's called Groundedness. That's right.
Oh, anyway, I haven't read that one. Is that good?
So far, it's quite good. I feel like I really have enjoyed Peak Performance more. I think everyone needs to read Peak Performance. I agree. It's a fantastic book. This is up there, but this is not as running focused, but it's still really handy. But one of the things he talks about with setting goals is, and he doesn't say this, but like, you write your main goal down. So you might, and I think the idea would be good to write a goal down on a piece of paper in lead pencil. And then you go, okay, how am I going to get to that goal? And underneath it, you write all the things that you need to do. So it might be, you need to develop a strength program, develop, regular training patterns that make you fitter and stronger, blah, blah, blah. But then once you've got all of that, then get the eraser and rub out the main goal, rub out the top.
Yep.
So that you are not focusing on that end goal, but you're focusing entirely on the process, which I thought it was a really unique way to think about it. And I think in many ways you've done that to a degree.
Yeah.
You've knocked out, and a lot of runners do, but I think when you get too fixated on the end goal, if it doesn't come across how you wanted it to, it can be bitterly disappointing. Like, a friend of mine just did just DNF'd at the Oscars hut to hut over the weekend. And it's disappointing. And, I think, but, so obviously the likelihood of a DNF in Barkley is pretty high.
Very high.
However, it's, like you say, so the process of just being a part of it is super exciting, so I love it. But and
I mean, for me, it's like, I can't even believe, I can never believe it, that I'm going, and that's what I'm saying. I just feel so lucky, and obviously it's not just down to luck. I've worked bloody hard, to be one of the people invited to go. So, it's not pure luck, but I still feel lucky and fortunate because, not many people get to do this, and it's pretty damn cool. So I want to appreciate that and not have it be a horrible experience for me because I'm so nervous.
Yeah. But you've put yourself into some pretty hardcore situations in the last 2 years. So I feel like physically you're very ready. And
physically I am. And mentally to deal with the long hours, it's just the whole navigation and the finding the flipping books.
Yeah. You could be right next to them.
Yeah, that's what happened last time. This girl, Shaka, and I were sitting there for an hour, we're looking for an hour and a half. We got so upset. We just sat down and talked and then we stood up and found the book 2 minutes later. So it's like, it's that ridiculous, So once again, who knows? I don't know. I'm just going to do the best I can. And I really don't know what that is, but I'm not going to just give up, at any stage.
It is very much here. We're going to go find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Which is very different from every other ultra race that's out there, which is run from pretty ribbon to pretty ribbon. There, you can see the next one. If you can't see the next one, you're lost. Whereas this one is, there's a yellow gate at the start line, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, pretty much
Except
it. And you have no, you're not carrying an EPIRB. You don't have your phone. Like if you get lost, you got to find your own way back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's, you won't be able to, obviously people can't follow you. It's not like, we can't, are you even allowed to, you're not even allowed to wear your Garmin, are you?
No.
Generally, doesn't he give people like it's like a cheap.
Yeah. I've still got my watch from last time. So, he just gives you a crappy watch. And he was just saying that, he's got all the watches and all that's going on. So, yeah. I think
you think 40 years ago,
a
crappy watch was actually an unheard of thing in running.
Yeah, that's right.
And now we've got that much technology sitting on our wrist that it's unbelievable.
It is. Really.
And if you go through ultra running history, the stuff that people did in the past still makes the races that we do these days look like child's play.
True. Very
Except
true.
for the Barkley. The Barkley is actually more like the historical running races, etc., that I enjoy reading about, where people just aim for something which you look at and you just go, yeah, only someone with not quite right in the head would go and attempt that.
Yeah, well, that probably describes me quite adequately.
So what is the trick for getting back to the car park if you get lost?
You're not allowed to say?
Just I would say backtrack. I would just backtrack.
Right.
And go back to the last familiar landmark. But see, once again, if I'm in the dark, you can't see. Yeah, you can't see. And if it's foggy, you really can't see any landmarks. So it's like I actually seriously don't know. And last time, like Shaka and I, we were up on top of we were on this trail, and I'd run there like during the week, and it's just a single track, and it's easy. I hadn't noticed there were little single tracks off to the side because you can just see the single track. And then we were there in the night, driving rain, wind, and we got lost. Like I would not have thought it was possible. And we're just running back and forth for like half an hour, and we couldn't figure out where to go. And then we eventually found it. But it was like we literally were lost. But if you were there in daylight, you would go, why are you lost? But it was foggy, you couldn't see anything, and we couldn't tell what direction we're in. And so we just went, slow down, get out the compasses again, and just use the compass. But, you know, in the dark, it's tricky.
Yeah.
Nighttime is so different that it is one of those things that anyone who is attempting an ultra, that really must be practiced.
Yeah.
And you have to practice nighttime tired.
Yes, that's different. Yeah.
You know, rather than nighttime fresh. If you've just hopped up at 1 o'clock in the morning and gone, oh, I feel great, I just had 4 hours sleep. That is not the same as I started running at 7 a.m. It's now 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to find my way at night. It is your peripheral vision goes, like all sorts of stuff goes weird.
Yeah, no. And then when you're sleep deprived, it just adds a whole new element. And I mean, but you know, I'm sure if I I would eventually get back.
It's I was just thinking that big effort you did, was it last year or the year before, where you ran, not the one where you ran down into Melbourne, the other one, Seven Peaks.
Yeah, that was last year too. Yeah,
I think that, to me, that seems like that would have been really good training. You know,
yes.
Yeah,
I totally.
And ultimately, I basically did that because I couldn't get to Barkley. You know, so I kind of did that in lieu and as training to prove to myself that I could stay awake for that long, so that, not to prove to myself, but to, you know, give myself a confidence boost to know that I could you know, be on my feet for that long.
But that is proving it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's just building your own self-confidence.
Yeah, that's right. So I know I can do all that. It's the navigating in the dark, because navigating in the daylight is pretty easy. Navigating in the dark is, that's a tricky bit. So I really am hoping to be able to team up with somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
I'll give you a tip for navigating. It's one that I read about, I think, as a child. So if you just buy a packet of bread and just drop breadcrumbs, then you'll be good.
That's not illegal. I mean, like, but I'm sure Laz has not thought of that. But you know what? You never know. I think probably have squirrels everywhere. Are there bears out there?
Yeah, I think there could be. You know, I don't know.
This is probably not snakes seeing this winter.
No, there won't be snakes. And to be honest,
frozen.
I tend not to worry about that sort of stuff. And God, I ran in Canada for a whole year and never saw a bloody bear. So, you know,
well,
I tend not to see all that sort of stuff, sadly.
Yeah. Do either of you guys ever get scared in the dark on trail runs? I'm not afraid to admit that I get anxious sometimes.
About what?
I don't, like, my rational brain, especially when I'm fatigued, my rational brain knows that there's nothing to be anxious about, except for maybe stepping on a snake, especially in the water. But, like, there's just this part of me that's like my irrational, like, child brain or something that
Monkey
just goes,
brain?
Yeah, where I'm just like looking over my shoulder. And
but what is your monkey brain expecting? Like an animal or a person?
The unknown. I'm more scared of a person. I don't know if
I just see that's the same for me. I'm not worried about the animals.
Yeah,
I'm worried about other people out there at that.
I just figure there's not going to be anyone out there.
I tell you what actually makes me nervous, and this is very rational, is running down a hill in the dark, and kangaroos here on Black Hill. Tons of kangaroos, and you guys probably have plenty where you are as well. And it worries me when you hear them and they suddenly just jump out on the trail in front of you. And I don't want to get knocked out by a kangaroo, you know, like that.
It's
because
deer.
They get startled.
Deer.
Yeah, we have herds of deer.
Yeah.
That have scared the bejeebers out of me when you have 60 deer run across a trail in front of you. And if all I could think is, if one of those hits me, I ain't getting back up.
Yeah.
They are not little.
I once was out mountain biking, night mountain biking, and I hit a wombat and went over the handlebars and landed on top of the wombat. So its arms were around me and we were rolling along the ground. Both of us screaming, the wombat screaming too, and it's scratching at me and I'm screaming. And those things are damn strong and heavy. And it was a very freaky experience in the dark to be rolling around with this wombat. So
they are called the bulldozers of the bush for a reason.
Oh, are they? I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it bulldozed me, don't you worry.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so I've got another question about your training, Isobel, because I mean, people want to know, like, because you are you're in rare company, you know, like in terms of who have actually people who've lined up for this race and who have lined up more than once. And so like, I know you've been doing more navigation practice and you've been doing a lot of running, obviously, but like, yeah, and you said the other day, you sent a message to us, to Ashley and I, about how good you're feeling with your running. And yeah, I mean, even though like a lot of the race, you're not going to be running, you know, like it's a lot of hiking, but you run fit, which is good, you know. So what is it? What's the game changer?
Yeah, so I've started stretching. And what's interesting is when I used to be a fast marathoner, and I was quite a fast marathoner, I used to stretch every single day religiously. And somehow or other, it just dropped off the radar and I forgot about it. And then my body started seizing up. And to be honest, I just thought it was, I'm getting old, you know. But I've started, and then I went to see this guy who does needling on me, and he said to me, Isobel, you need to be stretching or your performance is going to continue to suffer. And I started stretching again, and instantly my pace has improved. And not just the pace, but the first 5K, seriously, 5K used to feel so painful. My back, because, you know, I fractured my back many years ago mountain biking, so I've got issues from that. My back, my ankles, oh my God, it was like terrible. No, I started running and there's no pain. And it's like running has become enjoyable again. And so I'm like one of those reformed smokers or a born-again Christian or something. I'm like, everyone has to stretch. Everybody's got to stretch every single day. And I'm like mad for it now. So I never used to be, but rolling and stretching every single day. And it takes me 20 minutes to half an hour, and it's a pain in the butt finding the time. But you know what? I'm creating a new habit now, and I don't forget it. And I do it every single day. And it has made such a difference to how I feel about running.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So it's not the 10 Voltaren you're mixing into your coffee in the morning.
No, to be honest, I hate Voltaren. That makes me feel shit. It really does. But yeah, no, it's not the Voltaren or the
wow.
No. So no, I just, oh my God, it is honestly, it is. I feel like such an idiot, to be fair.
That takes it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that you're wrong about something or that you've learnt something. And so well done. So I do a little bit of stretching, but not a lot. And I was very much anti-stretch. And only because when I feel the onset of things like I can feel my plantar fascia start to play up, I know that stretching is my way out of it, like stretching and using the TheraBand. Those things are really great.
The TheraGun, you mean?
No, the rubber band.
Okay.
Yeah. And just stretching my feet out. And so, and also my calves and hamstrings and all that. So yeah, you'll have to, in the next episode, you'll have to share some of your tips on good stretching practices.
Yeah. Because I think, I know it is said, you know, and this is what I've always gone for, is we need to have stiff muscles, you know, to get the rebound effect better and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I've used that as an excuse not to stretch. But when you're doing as many kilometers as we do, your body just needs to stretch. And I just think, and the rolling, getting into the glutes and all that sort of stuff. I think, and I think it would be a good topic to cover, because it is honestly had such a profound effect on how I feel about running and everything. So I think surely I'm not an anomaly. It probably would help other people too.
Yeah, I think that's why those people who have converted over to yogaism,
but I did
swear
yoga.
by it because
It's
of
not
the
the
flexibility
same.
work.
Yeah,
Not
yoga.
the same?
It's not the same. It's not as good as full on just focusing just on stretching, because yoga is good as well, more because I personally think, because it's like core strength, you know, and balancing on one leg and all that.
It's intense though, yoga. It can be
yeah, for sure. But I think you also need to focus purely on stretching, and having someone to help you is good.
Yeah. Interesting. I know we're not big on time today.
Yeah,
we had a listener question.
That's right. Did you want me to have you got the question there, Ash?
I do have the question here.
Yeah.
Would you like me to read it out?
That would be good.
Hey coaches, I have a question. I live in a suburb which has lots of continuously rolling hills with barely any flat roads. When I do my speed session, like 2 kilometre threshold repeats or 800 meters, for example, I'd prefer to do it on a flat road or track, which I can't find nearby. I've done them around a nearby cricket/footy oval on the grass, but I have found that my pace drops by 15 seconds per kilometre. So my question is, what option is better? Do it on an undulating road and have inconsistent pace. Do it on the grass oval at a compromised pace. And is the pace compromised would be my question. Or drive 20 minutes each way to an oval track. So that's the 3 questions. It's basically, does he do it on an undulating surface? Does he do it on the grass where he has to slow down, or she? In this case, it's he, Matthew Woodman.
Yeah, I know this.
Or do they take the time to drive somewhere to a flat track?
To be honest, I think combining either of those is good. Like, I do some of my threshold runs on undulating just because it makes you mentally and physically stronger, because doing it on the flat is mentally easier because you are able to maintain a pace. But I used to live up in the hills on a dirt road in the middle of the bush. To run flat, I had to drive, and sometimes you just have to make the time, get up earlier. Like I used to have to, like before work, and it was probably a 20-minute drive each way, and I just would get up that much earlier just to get it in. But you know, I think doing it on all the 3, you know, maybe alternating, is not necessarily a bad idea.
I tend to agree. And shout out to Matthew, who is one of my runners, and he's a bit of a legend. And he's but he's training up for Irrational South 200 mile
awesome.
this year, and he'll do well at that. And
Irrational South ain't flat.
Yeah.
Well, right. Exactly. Well, he's done it before too. Yeah, exactly. And so in trail and ultra running, there's very few courses that are truly flat. And so I think undulating hills are really good for speed work, are good training in a lot of ways, because those are the kind of hills that just touch your pace a little bit, but they make you work a bit harder, you know, like, but you can still, those runnable hills like that, you go and do an undulating road run at a reasonable pace, and you're working working those glutes and those hamstrings to start firing like you wouldn't believe. And yes, it's different to hiking up steep trail hills, but it's beneficial. And like I always say, you've got to, for an ultra runner and trail runner, you've got to be a bit of a jack of all trades.
Yes.
So, you know, so cross over and do some of it on the track where you can go fast. And but yeah, and running on grass is, I think, a nice, like on the footy oval, it's a nice break for the body as well. I find it's like the surface is a bit softer, and you might not be able to run as quick, but at least you're just getting a little bit more cushioning. You know, every now and again, we've got to give our body.
And I think when you're concerned about pace in those instances, what you should be going for is the effort level. Like, what is the effort level for the pace that you would do that on the flat bitumen? Then go for that effort level, and the pace is what the pace is.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't.
Yeah, that's if you're after the cardiovascular change. Yeah. I agree with you totally there. I personally love I'm currently loving the flat because it's the only thing that I'm able to run on. As soon as I try to, in fact, actually I can run uphill, but as soon as I try to run downhill, my leg just gives way at the moment. So I am running on ovals. But for training, a flat surface is great for testing but I don't think you need to train on it regularly. It's also great for developing technique. If you've got a coach standing beside you saying you need to change this, because you're taking all of the other parameters out or all of the other irregularities out, so you can concentrate on that new thing that you're trying to do. As for training for ultras, if you are running, regularly, if you can get to a flat surface once a week, where it feels fast because you're wanting to go fast, that would make sense to me. More often than that, I'm not sure that while training for ultras you need it.
I mean, I think flat's good, for your easy runs. And when you are doing quality sessions, it helps with maintaining the leg speed that you kind of lose when you're always running on the hills. So it is good for that. So I do like my clients to run on the flat throughout the week as well. But it doesn't have to be all that.
Yeah. I think that's covered some good ground there. Hope that helps Mr. Woodman. And we'll see. Hopefully he mixes it up. It's sort of like we always do. It's an answer, but it's not an answer. We sort of
it depends.
we said yes to everything.
It depends is almost always the answer for every athlete.
Yeah.
If you read a book on running, it's just full of generalizations.
Yeah.
And that's all that they can do in a book. And we're in kind of the same boat until you're dealing with that specific athlete and their specific problem.
Yeah. And of course, listeners, please, Matthew posted that in the Facebook group. So get on the Facebook group and ask us some more questions. We would love to answer your questions, so help us out by giving them to us.
Yeah, it's fun. And you get your name mentioned, and you basically get podcast famous. And
just like us. Wow.
Yeah, we're up there with Joe Rogan.
I was about to say, and at this point in time, I'd like to say that there are actually more podcasts on running than there are runners in the world.
Really? I don't think so.
Yes.
It's mathematically impossible, but yes. No, I'm going to start a podcast. Actually, I've got a new podcast idea for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a podcast about dolphins, and it's just going to be groups of dolphins, and I'm just going to call it Podcast. You like that?
Oh my God,
Very
that's
good.
such a dad
Very
joke.
good. That's such a dad joke. Nice work.
Yeah, there we go. I think, but I guess the next time we speak to you, Isobel, you'll be either back from your massive journey. Yeah, I guess we probably won't be.
Well, because I'm
still lost.
Yeah, that's
hopefully not.
A month from now, I'll be in Canada.
Yep.
So it will depend. I might be best to wait until I get back, because time zones and all that other jazz. We'll see if we can find a time to fit in, but I think it'll probably maybe have to be a 5-week break this time and wait till I get back. I'll try to make it work, but I don't want to lock myself in.
And what we'll do, we will share as much information as when it comes to race day, we'll be sharing as much as is available to us on the Facebook page. So any updates.
So we'll live stream an update every 12 hours.
Exactly. No, well, they do put that through like lap by lap. And I don't know what athletes are there this year. Do you know anyone that's there? That's going to be there?
It's mainly the Euros this year, not really the Americans, because none of the Euros could get there last year. And I'm including Australia here, me.
Yeah.
So it was all Americans last year. So all the Euros, all us people who couldn't get there, we got rolled over. So it's all of us this year. So, it's not a lot of names that are necessarily that we know. I know some of them. I don't know a lot of them. So
last year it was the locals, and this year it's the internationals, and next year it'll be a mix.
Yeah, internationals is a better word than Euros, isn't it? Yes, I'm meaning internationals. Yeah, and next year we'll go back to being a mix, because we'll have had all our rollovers, because I was meant to go 2020. I was meant to go 21. So no, this is
2 years.
Yeah.
Are you any finishes, any prior finishes in it this year? Do you know? Like,
don't know. I haven't done my due diligence, have I? Well, no. John Kelly's going to be there.
Yeah.
So because John Kelly is an international now. Yeah.
You just focused on you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. And that's what I tend to do. When I race, I don't need to know about who's going to be there because it's not about them, it's about me.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have a bit of? We're both going to give. I think we should both give Isobel some training, a racing tip.
Yes, please
right
do.
now. The racing tip. I'll give you. And look, this may be good or bad. But, I say go out fast and don't pace yourself at the big. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. No, I don't really have any advice other than to go out there and try and enjoy as much of it as you can.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. That's all I've got for you. You know what to do, Just let
mine would be enjoy the good bits and the bad bits.
Yeah.
But as far as being relaxed, listen to a terrible song just before the start of the race. So it's stuck in your head and you're singing that every time something goes to the shitter.
Yeah. Good advice. Yes.
That feeling of nervousness is such an important part of the process as well.
It is.
And so just going, okay, I'm nervous, I've got butterflies, I feel super anxious. Just acknowledging that that's part of it helps you feel a bit better.
We all get that. We all get nervous and then it goes away once you start. So, and we all know that, but it's still so hard to deal with when you've got it. But as everyone always says, if you didn't have nerves, it would show you don't care. So what would be the point?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, I guess we should wrap it up here. And on that positive note, good luck. May the force be with you.
Yes. And, may the odds be ever in my favor.
Yes. Oh, exactly. Gosh, it's Hunger Games now.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit like that.
I've got a question for everybody, and we know what Isobel's going to be doing for the next 5 weeks, but what are you going to be doing for the next 5 weeks, Daniel?
Yeah.
Very quickly, I'm building up. We can talk about it a bit next time. I'm building up for a 120-kilometre race that's here in Adelaide. It's the Adelaide 100, it's called, but it's 120 kilometres. Go figure.
Of course.
And basically, I can tell you more about it. But this month, I've actually been doing just a bit of a vert month in experimentation and seeing how that goes, and doing lots and lots of vertical kilometres, just see how it feels. And it's fun. So I'll be doing more of that and just building up. But my race isn't until May, so we'll have time to talk about that. And that's going to be part of my big picture. So yeah,
awesome.
and you'll be building up, getting healthy and strong again, Ashley.
I am building up to being able to run 5K. That'll be my aim for the next 5 weeks, is to be able to run 5K continuously.
Excellent.
If I can manage that would be awesome.
Yeah, we wish you every success, and I'm sure you will achieve that. It's just it's one of those things that you got to be super careful, because you don't want to do the 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
No, I definitely do not. And that is the biggest break or pause to my, that makes me think before I head out each day. It's hang on a second. Is this the right move to be able to go out again tomorrow?
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah. No,
but Isobel, you have an awesome time.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll see you in 5 weeks.
You will.
Yes.
Yes.
And may all your rats be good to you.
Yes. Oh, please God. Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks for joining us on the Coaching Roundtable, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.